Welcome to another episode, everyone. High Desert State Prison, the most violent prison in California. This is indisputable. And there, the Nortenos were on the yard, along with the Southsiders, the Blacks, Crips, Bloods, and every other group. But not in every prison will you find Nortenos and Southsiders on the same yard. There in High Desert, in the most violent prison in California, such is the case. So every group is very strict. Every group takes care of business and makes sure that their car is tight so as not to get into violence with another group, causing immense damage. They will have to answer to this. So everyone really runs a tight ship. And just like the story that I just brought you with the Serenos and Sergio being a shot caller and being attacked for his indiscretions, the same transpired here in High Desert State Prison with the Nortenos. Let's call them Joker number 1 and Joker number 2. Two Norteno shot callers. They were in the cell together. They ended up being brutalized and pulverized by the had it enough Nortenos. Joker number 1 was a strong individual. He was the first person really that I seen do so many burpees. Apparently, thousands of them. And sometimes would barely bust a damn sweat. He had size on him, did Joker number 1. And I'm not sure if he was the shot caller for the entire facility for the Nortenos there in High Desert, but he was unquestionably the shot caller there on the yard. Joker number 2 was his second in command. Shot caller number 2, if you will. And he ruled with an iron fist. He was younger than Joker 1 and wilder. And I've never known the Nortenos to bully their people or to take advantage of their people. They have to pay a stipend. They have to pay a certain percentage of what they get, like the Serenos do as well. But I've never known them to extort one another or to bully one of their own people. They're pretty tight and structured because they've always been outnumbered everywhere I've been with them by the Serenos. So they really ran a tight ship to make sure that they were game tight in case they had to get into it with someone. They were strict and on their program every time I've encountered them. I've never known them to be users of a product. Now, some of them I'm sure have used undercover, but for the most part, they don't even use, certainly not out in the open. They are game tight. And well, they were getting in a little product there in High Desert State Prison. And they were paying the couple of people who were getting it in what they were supposed to pay to Joker number 1 and Joker number 2. But Joker number 2 began to get greedy and find out behind the scenes he was coercing his people to give him more. Even sometimes threatening them, telling them that that these were the new rules, at least as far as he was concerned, that they had to give him a certain amount, more than what they had been giving him. Now, everything I know about the Nortenos is true. They're not going to go for this. Sooner or later, they're going to cultivate sinister machinations and come after the culprits. Now, Joker number 1 is playing good cop. They're playing good cop, bad cop. Joker number 1 is telling the Nortenos that he would take care of this. He'll take care of Joker number 2, calm him down, let him know, don't be trying to change the program. Don't be trying to bully anyone and don't be threatening anyone. But they're in a cell together. And some are thinking that secretly Joker number 1 is sanctioning this. He subscribes to this sort of behavior. He wants Joker number 2 to push this sort of line. Overtly, he's saying, oh no, I'm against this sort of behavior and I'm going to check him. Secretly, he's telling Joker number 2 to keep your foot on their neck. Make sure you're running a tight ship. They're coming to me crying and complaining, but that's okay. Do what you got to do. It's only a matter of time. One time, Joker number 2 pressed up on one of the Nortenos that was bringing it in. He told him that he heard he had been doing business with the Southsiders and that was a violation. Now, everyone is doing business with one another here on the yard in High Desert. I'm doing business with the Sureños and the North. I know. I had it. I'm doing business with all of them. As I've said before, now and then, the Sureños or even the Norteños will put out a directive amongst their people saying, cease doing business with the blacks for whatever reason. They may not explain why. I've explained why. It's a money play for the most part. But they'll put a cease to it for 30 days. They'll put a straight date on it where you can't do business with them for 30 days. Something happened or whatever. Even though secretly some transactions still transpire, of course. We are all human beings. But other than that, other than them putting out a directive to stop doing business with us for a particular time or stop doing business with the blacks or anyone that's not a Sureño, or same thing for the Norteños, don't do business with anyone that's not a Norteño, not just the blacks, but anyone. But sometimes it's just the blacks that they can't do business with. Other than that, we all do business with one another on the yard. Now, I don't know if at this juncture, whether or not I don't know what the Norteños had going on. I don't know whether or not they had a directive out amongst themselves not to do business with the Southsiders or whomever else at this particular time. I know that before this incident, they had been doing business with the Southsiders and everyone. I know this for a fact. We're all doing business together. Whatever the case, I guess they had something going on where they couldn't be doing business with the Southsiders. At least that's what Joker number 2 is saying. That's his position. That this particular individual violated the protocol, the directive that had been put out by the hierarchy to have no dealings at this juncture with the Southsiders. Come to find out, you have had dealings with them. But really, it was all made up, according to the Norteños. He had not done business with the Southsiders. Joker number 2 wanted a reason to extort him, to get him to pay more than what he had been paying. It was a ruse, a ploy, a lie. It was mendacious. He had not been doing business with the Southsiders. It was all fabricated in order for Joker number 2 to get more loot. It didn't take long for him to be exposed. It was proven by that particular Norteño and others that he indeed, in fact, had not done business with any Southsider. It was determined that Joker number 2 was just trying to extort him. Again, this is shocking behavior coming from the Norteños. This is not how they comport themselves. This is an anomaly. He's a unicorn. And Joker number 1, they believe, is complicit. He's also the culprit because he's allowing this. He's sanctioning this. He has the final say with everything, at least on this entire yard. And so to be put in this position, you must be a strong individual. The people, the hierarchy that has you leading men, calling the shots amongst strong men, killers, means that it takes a certain fortitude to carry this out. And for people to instill this trust in you, well, your pedigree must be extensive. So people are confused as to why Joker number one would sanction this, considering his pedigree. Either way, he was sanctioning it. And the die was cast. The decision had been made. I don't know who made the decision, if it came from the hierarchy or if the Nortenos right there on the yard decided that they had had enough. I doubt it. I'm sure that they got permission from the higher ups to take out Joker number one and Joker number two. Not long after, there in the day room, where most of the violence goes down in High Desert State Prison, people have been brutally unalived right there in the day room in front of everyone. Because there's only one gunner in the tower. And in the 180 design, he has to watch 3 different day rooms, A, B, and C, different sections. So he's leaning over here, looking at this day room, looking at that day room, looking at this day room. And when he turns his head to go over here, or someone already knows in A section, if the crime is about to happen in C section, then they already know in A section to create a diversion. Call the tower guard over there and talk to him for a minute while we kill this dude. And Joker number one and Joker number two are there in the day room, and they are blind to the fact that their number has been called. Their time is up. Well, they're comfortable with the situation. They've been here calling shots forever. They've been having people brutalized and viciously removed from the yard. They call a shot. They're not worried about someone brutalizing them. Why would they be? They're the big dogs on the yard. Up until that day. As they're sitting there at the table, just chilling, both of them. I want to say about 6 Nortenos. It was a good 6 of them. Well, they rushed over there, weapon in hand, and began to brutally attack Joker number one and Joker number two. Joker number two tried to produce a weapon. He was strapped. But it was all futile. It was all for naught. Because the Nortenos were on him like a pack of hyenas. They were stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and yelling and choking. This attack was personal. He had went against the rules and the protocol by trying to extort and bully his own people. A no-no, particularly, again, amongst the Nortenos. I've never seen it. And to do it here on a level 4 180, you all but sealed your fate. Eventually, Joker number one and Joker number two dropped to the ground, bleeding, holding different wounds, trying to stop the bleeding, moaning and screaming. And the Nortenos, well, they were relentless in their attack. They would not let up. The tower started yelling eventually, "Get down, get down." The alarm went off. And the police, they're running, they're coming. Once the alarm goes off, the police are imminent. it's a matter of seconds before they're in the building deep. But this is no concern of the Norteno. Because again, this attack was personal. And so even though the police are yelling, get down, and the tower has the gun trained on them, they're continuing as Joker number 1 and Joker number 2 are on the ground, essentially pleading for their lives. They're continuing to attack them viciously. And then eventually, when the police finally got in the day room and everybody had sprawled out, late, sat down, whatever, they got off of them. But it was too late. They were incapacitated, immobile. Both of them left out on a stretcher. They had stab wounds in their face, neck, shoulders, stomach. I think that the directive was clear to unalive both of them. They were trying to kill them. They were unsuccessful. Neither of them died. But both of them learned a valuable lesson, and we all can. Though they didn't die, certainly they are scarred for life and will never be the same. Their face was brutalized. It was covered in blood and stab wounds. You can see, like, a couple of Nortenos apparently had razors. They don't even use razors in prison. They just got bone crushers, period. Bone crushers. That razor shit is for the county jail, not for a level 4 180. But again, this attack was so personal that they wanted to disfigure them. Clearly, it's what they were after. They had bone crushers as well. But a couple of them had razors and was slicing their face because Joker number 1 and Joker number 2 had their faces sliced up. Again, Joker number 1 was attacked because they said that he had sanctioned Joker number 2's behavior, that he hadn't curtailed it or put a stop to it in any way, nor was he motivated to. He was excusing it. This made him complicit in the extortion of his own brethren. And Joker number 2, of course, he was trying to extort his people and bully them, concocting stories, fabricating reasons, talking about he had done business with the Southsiders, fabricating reasons to get more substances out of him, more of that product out of him. Just being greedy, lying on this man, but can have him attacked, talking about he had been doing business with the Southsiders, and he wasn't supposed to be, and it wasn't true. Oh well. You live and you learn. Stay safe and stay free, people.